Don't wanna wait for a better podcast. It's just a podcast of heavy metal. When you listen, it gets so fun that you listen again and you have some more fun. Oh, that's a nice color change. Didn't know I could do that. Jive it up, jive it up. Oh, with Shane Diablo, jive it up, jive it up. I might have a new style. Oh. I mean, the song sucked, but I feel like I figured something out. Almost accordion style. I feel like I've got something figured out. Maybe you might want to tune in this next episode. There might be something really good popping off, and then you're like, you don't want to feel like you've missed anything. It sucks to feel left out, doesn't it? When you feel like everybody's in on something and you're not part of it, like when they used to say, all your buddies would grab hands with each other and they'd all run off in one direction. You're like, hey, and they say, you can't come up with us, whatever. Anyways, welcome back to Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, episode 162, 63, 62. This is a no request zone. I would ask that you put your requests for videos, reactions, or anything else in any other video. But right here, this is about you. This is about your comments. Now, if you pay attention to the channel at all, you know I love to read your comments on all of the videos. But the Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo Heavy Metal News podcast, cutting edge stories and interesting things that we do here, you'll know that you can put your requests in on each, or your comments on each episode. And what happens is I read those at the end of every episode of Jive Talkin. So if you're new here and you're saying, hey, I don't know what's going on with podcasts. I don't know what's going on with heavy metal news. I don't know what's going on with anything. But what I do know is I'm going to give this guy a try. Well, I thank you very much for that. So let's do it. I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's going good for you. I hope you're doing a lot of deep breathing. I hope you're forgetting about remembering this is the year of no fear. We're not going to read stories about how this is going on and that's going on, and we're going to bring it back to ourselves, and we're going to focus on ourselves, and we're going to think about what's going on in here in this meat shell that you're wearing. You're going to focus more on that and less on everything else that you cannot control. Right? Everything else that I cannot control, I'm not going to bother worrying about. I'm going to just focus on what I can do. With a good can-do attitude, if you don't mind. I've been watching that Yellow Jackets. It's kind of Lord of the Flies for bitchy high school girls, basically. But it's really good so far. I'm about 4 episodes in. It's on Netflix. And I love that actress, and I can never remember her name, but she was in Cape Fear, and she was in, was she at Dusk Till Dawn? I want to say she was in Dusk Till Dawn, and she was also in Natural Born Killers. And she's a great actress. I really like her. And also, what's her face? She was in Casper. Christina Ricci. Pretty dang good little show there. I think it's like 10 episodes. And I like that when it's just in and out. Give me a story. Don't give me movie length. I'm more interested into a longer length of a type of a style series. But I want it done after the first season. First episode, 10 episode, done. Let's get into heavy metal news, because that's what we're here to do. Pardon me, I'll have another drink. We've got a cavalcade of wonderful stories here. We are going to check in at the very end here before your comments with Ace Frehley. I've got a nice close-up. He played some show somewhere last week, but there's an extreme close-up, and he's doing his solo, and I want to see the pickups, and exactly what he does to make that guitar start to smoke and stuff like you've loved it all so many years of your life, Well, there's Kerry King there, and indeed he uses Pantene for his beard. And he's not ashamed to admit that. He has told us, I love Pantene and I wear that. Now, I don't have any hair, but I do a good scrub on my beard. And he's got the headphones on, which would indicate that he's on a very professional podcast of some sort. And then, of course, this is the redhead devil himself, Dave Mustaine, whom I saw a great meme today, and it was Dave, and he was out on a deck, and he was staining his deck, and it said, Dave must stain. I like that. Kerry King, Dave Mustaine can't help but keep his foot out of his mouth. He loves to put his foot in his mouth. I believe he's going to tell a story of a time, because he loves to bring up the fact that he played the first 5 shows with Megadeth, and that he saw the first 5 shows of Metallica with Dave Mustaine in it. He loves to talk about that. Any chance Kerry King can get, he'll let you know it. But I hope he tells the story. Let's see what he says here. During an appearance on Lip Service with Scott Lips. That's not Lips from Anvil, is it? Lips podcast, Scott Lips' podcast. Slayer's Kerry King reflected on his first time seeing Metallica band in 1982. He said, it's transcribed, blah, blah, blah. I saw him when then Metallica guitarist Dave Mustaine, and we opened for them. I think Mustaine was still in the band. Of course you know he was. At the place we used to frequent called Woodstock in Anaheim, California. When I first saw him with Mustaine, I was sitting kind of between Metallica frontman James Hetfield, he's the lead singer, guitar player, and then Metallica bassist Ron McGovney, so he does go way back. Pre-Cliff Burton. I was like in the middle of the audience, where the audience is, and I was just blown away watching Mustaine just ripping on the guitar and not even looking at his fingers. He's that good. He doesn't even look at his fingers when he does it. I'm like, I can't do that. Who was you talking to? Probably a cool guy. Tom Araya standing next to him. Hey, Tom, I can't do that, dude. I have to look at my hands when I play the guitar, dude. I have to. And to this day, I'm like, I can't do that. And to this day, he's a badass guitar player. But that's what I walked away from Metallica thinking. Like when I walked out of the concert, I was like, of the Metallica concert, I was thinking, how does he play with not look at his fingers? And he wrote tons of the riffs in the early days. So when he branched off into Megadeth, a lot of the riffs went with him. Yeah. Little bit of that there. Right? Asked if he was thinking at the point, but now Scott Lips says, now let me do my interviewing portion of this. Are you thinking at that point that he wanted to do what Metallica was doing, but turned it to 11? Just turn it up a notch? Kerry replied, no, it didn't have anything to do with seeing them doing it. Because we'd already known about pioneering UK extreme metal band Venom. What did I just hear today from Venom? I heard a couple of tracks from them. One about burning witches, and then the other one was the big one. About Satan. In league with Satan. In league with Satan. How'd it go, guys? Get down there, tell me. Venom, and we were in the process of morphing what we had to that point to punky. What? Extreme metal band Venom, and we were in the process of morphing what we had to that point to punky Venom, Motorhead, kind of what they did before us. But seeing them, it's like. And even when they were, they're a Southern Cali band. As much as they like to be called the band from San Francisco, Bay Area band, they're from Southern Cal. Sorry. But they had streamlined everything, and we were still working it out. But you guys were from LA too, weren't you, Slayer? Wasn't Slayer from LA too? They went up to the Bay Area, San Fran, because of the thriving thrash scene up there. But I want to say Metallica and Slayer were from LA. Or maybe it was just that Slayer could not get a gig in LA. There was something like that. But they had streamlined everything. We were still working it out. We were working on things, getting things better. But we went far darker route than they did. And then they became the biggest metal band on the planet. Kerry also talked about his current relationship with the members of Metallica, including Mustaine. He said, Mustaine's cool. But Mustaine's one of those guys that he can't help but stick his foot in his mouth. So I'll take my 20 minutes and I'll bolt just before anything gets uncomfortable. It's funny. James is one of those guys. Oh, James, I'm not even going to read this part, guys. James is a sweetheart. James is a thoughtful soul. You can see it in those tender eyes. What did Miss Althea call him, an English teacher? He wants to teach the children the proper to English. What's he going to say? He's going to say something sweet about him, something loving. It's funny. James is one of those guys, even though we've got basically the same career, different circles. We did the shows featuring the big four of 1980s thrash metal. He made a point to come and say hey to us. But it's funny that it hasn't occurred in the 40 years we've been doing this, that I've rarely seen James, Kerry continued. Kirk Hammett, Metallica guitars, cool. Rob, bassist. Robert Trujillo, cool. Lars Ulrich, Metallica drummer, it's cool. We hang out when they feel like hanging out. Yeah, that's all of them. So that's it. That's all he's going to say. I thought he was going to give us a story about the time that Dave Mustaine put his foot in his mouth. At the end of the day, I thought, this is a gigantic learning situation. Oh, what's this? We're done with it. I've got no more patience for it, guys. I can't take another minute of it. He's going to say we were just as good as Metallica, but Metallica, they're stuck-up pricks now, and they don't want to hang out, and they don't want to take Testament out on the road. They don't want to take Overkill out on the road. They don't want to do nothing because they're too big. You got Billy Biohazard over there getting snubbed by Lars. They're just too big. So Kerry King's saying whenever they get a chance to say hey to him, they say hey. But James says hey more than the rest of them. Speaking of James Hetfield. Look into these eyes, you will see what you mean to. He just wants to teach the children to read. He says, oh, James, I just don't think they can do it. They're not smart enough. And he says, I can do it, Muriel. I can do it. I'm going to teach these children to read if it's the last thing I do before I die. That's what he would do if he was a school teacher. Did you see him in the Jeffrey Dahmer thing as the police officer? And thank goodness, because James Hetfield, I believe, was the police officer that finally got him off the streets before he escaped and killed again. James Hetfield was the guy that got him off the streets the first time before he escaped. Metallica's James Hetfield. Was that Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer? I think it was Ted Bundy that I'm thinking of. He was the biter. Remember him? He always left a nice big bite mark on his victims. Jeffrey Dahmer did too, but there wasn't much bites left. You know what I mean? Because he'd eat them. Save the heads for later. Put those in the freezer. Metallica's James Hetfield. He wanted it to, he wants to talk about how he writes his lyrics. He says, yeah, I want the words to just be as powerful as possible. Tom Waits, I see Tom Waits down here. Now, I always mix their names up. Is it John Waits that sings, I ain't missing you at all, missing you since you... And Tom Waits is the guy that sings, right? He's always singing about, he's always got a cigarette burning in his mouth or something. He's one of them guys. They can sing or talk with the cigarette burning and the smoke going right up in their eyes and stuff. During an appearance on the latest episode of the Metallica Report, and I do believe that to be their official podcast, the podcast offering weekly insider updates on all things Metallica. Metallica frontman James Hetfield found a bit of time to sit down with the Metallica Report, spoke about his perennial and peerless lyrics. The band's primary songwriter shared what he loves about the architecture of words, whether he sees himself as a storyteller, and his appreciation of the American musician and songwriter. I almost want to get in there and look at his catalog and see what Tom Waits has done. I don't know if I know a song from him or not, but I'm sorry if I'm a little scatterbrained, a little bit all over the place today. Like I do every Thursday, bust my balls at work. I mean, I get up at 5 a.m. I'm on the bus by 6:10. I am opening up the shop at 6:30. I'm out the frickin' door. I'm out the door. And I just got home, so it's been a long day, but I said, this is my favorite part, is to sit down and speak with you fine humans. So, I'm a little flighty because I just get to it, and the bus was 40 minutes late. And I'm thinking, well, there's got to be an accident, because, I have a little app that tells me where the buses are, and this son of a bitch hasn't moved in hours, or in minutes. And then, he finally rolls up. He's one of those guys that leans on the steering wheel. Hey, man. It's like, why don't you sit up straight and hit the gas pedal? But then when I'm getting off the bus, he's like, I said, well, have a good night. Take care of yourself and have a good night. That's what I usually say. And he goes, well, I'm hourly, so I'm going to go slow. And yeah, I know you go slow. I do know that. Regarding his approach to writing lyrics, Hetfield said, as transcribed by blabbermouth.net, for me, not studying literature much at all. Ever, really. All those books you're supposed to read as a kid, like To Kill a Mockingbird and 1984 and Little Women and what was the one? There's a great book, and I want to say it's by Ray Bradbury. Get in the comments if you remember this, but it's one about a man that has tattoos all over his body. And each tattoo tells a story where therein it is an anthology. That was a book I read in school. That might have been my favorite book that I read in school. Catcher in the Rye, all that kind of stuff, Mice and Men. And he said, yeah, no, Shane, I never read those books. And he looked, if you look at James Hetfield at 19, 20, he didn't read those books. He was out smoking a cig I knew those kids. They had tenacity. They would smoke with a foot on the school building. I'm like, no, I go over down behind the convenience store and smoke. I don't just do it right there. Because if you do get busted, and I did get busted smoking once in school, and the best thing I did was, the other guys that I was with, they're like, yeah, I had a couple drags off it, and I was like, I just had a puff. I said, this fucking guy. Did you just hear what he said? Puff. Get out of here. Go back to class. The other ones are talking about taking drags. I just had a puff of it. Is that bad? I don't know. Will it kill me? I don't know. They said, get back to class. Anyways. He didn't study the literature much. All of the books we were supposed to read as a kid, I didn't, but I will pick up a book and thumb through it. One of those. Mostly I see words that are interesting. Like the word interesting. And that's out of curiosity. And me, I would say that coming from a graphics background. You did that. You got it. Okay. The way a word looks is almost more important. Like lux, eterna, You've never seen that in your life, James, until you used it for Lux Eterna. You've never seen that because I don't know what that is, the AE connected. I know Tools used it once or twice, but you've never seen that before. And it is a cool word looking, right? Lux Eterna. How cool is that? There's an X in it. And then the A and E together. How cool. It's almost how it looks. He's going to talk about Tom Waits. As far as Tom Waits just being a master craftsman at lyrics, painting a picture in one sentence, it's interesting to me, and it takes work, he continued. I saw Tom kind of live it. It was his vocabulary as well. He could sit and speak like that. I can't. Having access to the sources and the dictionaries and things like that nowadays is so great. Thesaurus too, James. Did he mention the thesaurus? Sources, no. He just said access to sources and dictionaries. Thesaurus, James. He might go, oh, yeah. He's listened to this podcast. Oh, yeah. Laws, I was listening to this podcast of Shane Diablo's Jive Talkin, and he said a thesaurus. And then little Lars can go buy him one. They're about $2 or something at any bookstore. They're not $2. They're probably $19.99, but yeah. Having access to sources, dictionaries, stuff like that nowadays, it's so great. I mean, somebody will send me something and I look at the words and I don't know what that is. I highlight it because you got a yellow highlighter. I look it up. Hey, great. I got that. I will thumb through books. He thumbs through them just to see cool words and put them in a little pile. Puts his cool words in piles. Figure out where they belong. So it is kind of like building a vehicle. Oh, he knows something about vehicle. He's got them rat fink. He's got them little road racers. What do they call them? Where they put them big goddamn mufflers on them. I saw this car the other day. Mufflers that big on it. Just barreling dirty smoke out of it. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm in the mood. I apologize. We do have a few more. We got Ricky Rocket, we got Ace Frehley, we got a couple more surprises here. So don't, there's going to be some people that tune out. There's going to be some people that don't want to be here. There's going to be people that, if you try to tell them about my podcast, they're going to go, just like their eyes glaze over the minute you mention a show. The minute I mentioned Yellow Jackets, half of you went, oh, fuck. Because that's what you do as soon as someone says, have you seen this show? You got to watch this show. But there's going to be some people that tune out of this. And it's sad to say because they're really missing out. But what are you going to do? He's got access to it and he makes little piles with his words, James does. And figure out where, after he gets the big pile of words, he kind of puts them out on a table and figures out where they belong. So it kind of like building a vehicle. Building a whatever. Collecting lots of little words. And how do they fit together? What does this really mean? Is this enough for a subject matter? Then I go and I watch a band like Green Day. And I say, I wanna be, what's their hit songs? That's not it, isn't it? And they have some they got simple words. Know your enemy. Or do you know your enemy? Is that a song? Something like that. I think it is, Shane. I don't know. Do you just thumb through their songs too? I kind of just thumb through them whenever I get. It's like it's so hooky and great. It sticks in you. But that's not really literary geniusness. So geniusness is another word I just made up. I just made that up on your podcast. Lips? No. Metallica Report on my podcast. I just made up a word. Genuineness. Genuineness. Is that right? Geniusness. Oh, okay. So I'm sorry, James. I fucked your word. Messed it up. Geniusness is another word I just made up. And there are times when I'll make up words just to get a point across, too. For me, putting words into the songs, it's like another instrument. So if and the if, those things get in the way. You know, like the ifs and ands, they get in the way sometimes. Just get rid of them. He gets rid of the ifs and ands. I mean, I guess he doesn't sing about if I ever, anything with the word if in it. Right? Name me a Metallica song where he's ever said the word if. It doesn't exist. You just want the meaty words to get in there and get the point across and be vague enough. But I'm not a storyteller. I'm not that. Metallica Report, the fine Metallica Report asked if have you become more comfortable with your ability to express yourself through the lyrics over the years? Has there been any kind of a breakthrough there? I think so. Yeah. I was discouraged when we did Metallica's late 1990s album Load and Reload. With the amount of songs, there were 45 songs I had to write lyrics for. That's a big freaking pile of words. No ands and ifs in that pile, I'll tell you that. There were 45 songs I wrote for the lyrics in that. I couldn't believe it. Wait a minute. I've got to write 45 songs worth of lyrics? It's insane, Lars. All that 45 songs would not be as potent as one really well-written lyric to me. And being more comfortable with the stuff that I think brings the point across. Yeah. Now, I don't think he's even used the word if in this interview. Is that even possible? I'm not seeing an if anywhere in this, guys. Who's this guy? Greg Fiddleman. Yeah. We have Lars, Metallica drummer. And I got a nugget real quick. I got to remember about Lars Ulrich, the producer that I listened to. They read through them. Lars, Lars and co-producer Greg Fiddleman, co-producer. I come in with the lyrics. They all read through them, and they'll just say, oh yeah, that word, I'm not sure. It's like, just let me, just let me sing it, Lars, you little son of a... Try not to swear as much, and I'm already swore a lot in this thing. Let me get it out of there. I said, Lars, here's a big pile of words. Now, let me get that word out of there that you didn't like. That's what he said right here. Let me get it out of there. Even something like the Metallica song Enamorada with the lyrics, resent me like a cancer grows. He's like, the word cancer is, nah. You can't sing that. It's too, dude, come on. I mean, I'm not trying to win any PC awards or anything. That was all of Lars because he's trying to win all the awards. Cancer is fucking powerful words. It's hated. And to apply it to something gives it that power. He's not wrong about that because I didn't even like saying that at all in this whole thing. Let me get a sip here. we're moving on. Very quickly, Mr. Michael Ockerfeld of Opeth. I saw them live. Absolutely amazing. Everyone was standing at attention. This thing is coming out of whack for me here. This screen. You see what I try to do for you people? I started doing this because you guys wanted a better view. You wanted a front row seat to this. So that's what this is about. But I saw Opeth live. Absolutely amazing. Just people standing in absolute amazement. If they weren't rocking out so hard, you could hear a pin drop. But and what I also like about Michael Ockerfeld is he's always when they're not jamming, he's just tuning the guitar and talking. How's the weather out here today? I see that it's a bit cloudy or whatever, And he just, but he's got a good things to say about Paul Di'Anno, the fine fallen singer of Iron Maiden, passed away. Hopefully you guys have watched the video I just put out on Friday called Holy Shit, Thunderstick from Samson was in Iron Maiden for a year, and we did a kind of a video on that. Lot of stealing things or sharing things between Samson and Iron Maiden. I was surprised in that video how much they share. Oh yeah, baby. It's just sparkling water, so you gotta kind of give it a little bit. You gotta let people know that you like to party. You can still invite me to the party, man, even though I quit drinking alcohol. And no, I'm not gonna be the freaking driver or whatever that is. Oh, we can get shit-faced and he'll drive us. No. Well, I don't have a car for one, but another reason for that is I wouldn't do it anyways. Opeth's Michael Ockerfeld pays tribute to Paul Di'Anno. His influence on metal music cannot be underestimated. And truer words can never be spoken. Opeth guitarist vocalist Michael Ockerfeld, and maybe they'll mention their new album in this too. Opeth guitarist vocalist Michael Ockerfeld has paid tribute to former Iron Maiden singer Paul Di'Anno, who died last October at the age of 66. Earlier today, Wednesday, January 8th, Michael took to the Opeth social medias to write, Paul Di'Anno, 1958, 2024. Rest in peace. I know this eulogy arrives quite a bit too late, but there you go. I have been thinking of paying tribute to Paul since the day he passed away. His influence on music, metal music, and Opeth cannot be underestimated. Or, even a better word, Shane, understated. I remember a vivid conversation with my buddy, Jonas Harinsky. We almost fought about who the better singer for Iron Maiden. I credit it in respect to Blaze Bayley, but we're talking about the older albums that we both grew up listening to. Jonas was adamant that the best singer was Paul and not Bruce. Why? I asked. Why? I asked. Based on the track record, Bruce has done way more great albums when Di'Anno only did 2. However, great they are. Bruce has simply had a longer career with Maiden. Jonas' reply was, his soft voice. I got it. where Bruce is the air raid siren. Paul had more of a sensitive side to his voice when needed. Songs like Prodigal Son and Remember Tomorrow, which we did a rather terrible cover of. I'm quite ashamed to say it, but we did try that song before, but we did not do it the honors that we should have. A great showcase of this beautiful side to the otherwise snarling and confident voice of Paul. On top of that, Killers, where there's a little tune we talk about in that Thunderstick video on Killers. Was it on Killers or was it on Number of the Beasts? Is one of Killers is one of the best fast in your face heavy metal records ever released. I've yet to deepen my knowledge of his solo band as well as the other projects like Battlezone. I don't want to know I'm breaking free. I'll give you some, Michael. Yo, I don't want to know. Oh, that's a very nice sounding song, Shane. Keep doing it. I don't want to know I'm breaking free. That's Battlezone, baby. Now you're talking, Shane. That is indeed Battlezone. I never met Paul, but he stood in front of me in line at the airport once. Ooh, that's a perfect time. You give him a little tap on the shoulder. Excuse me, dear sir, but I am ashamed to tell you that I am one fan that is very big for you. I am the huge fan for your music, and I am also a musician, not to toot my own horn, but indeed I am. I never got to him, but in the airport once I got too starstruck, of course, to say hi. And he's very down to earth, man. Michael Eccleford, he is so down to earth. He's a wonderful fellow. I'll bet he's just a pleasure to be around. Our late but deepest condolences go out to his family, friends, and fans. Now, I'll say this as a side note here, guys. He also did a tribute to Ragni from Heavy Load, the Sweden. I need to get into him and learn more about him. Ragni Wohlquist. So he sat down at the computer with a nice big coffee and he started writing eulogies for everybody. Because he did this one and he did another one for, the band was called Heavy Load, and it was Ragni Wohlquist, who's just passed away. We'll learn all about him because I don't know who he is and I feel ashamed that I don't. If he's the king of Swedish heavy metal. And of course, you know, Michael Eckerfeld's from Sweden, so he too, he'll get punished if he doesn't do something on Ragni. Our deepest condolences to his friends, his family, first and foremost, his family, beautiful family, friends and fans. Deano, whose real name was Paul Andrews, passed away at his home in Salisbury. Deano was laid to rest on November 21st at the City of London Cemetery at the the London Cemetery and Crematorium in Manor Park, East London, United Kingdom. Rest in peace on that. A quick one with Ricky Rocket here. He's just going to tell us, look, for all of you that have been asking about the Rocket Mafia, he's just going to break it down. And he says, we just want to keep it high energy and entertaining and fun. Can't we do that? Do we got to be intense? Do we have to be intriguing? Now, if you remember, and I forgot about the Lars Ulrich thing, so I'm going to launch into that. But do you remember Don's drum vault got 5 of Ricky Rocket's drum sets stolen? Blabbermouth's so damn good, they'll probably do recently. Ricky Rocket's drum sets were stolen from Don's lousy drum vault. You can't keep anything locked up good. But let's just see what he's a cool dude. He's got his shades on. He's saying, look, man, we just want to keep it cool and rock. And by God, for that I thank him. In a new interview with Reckless Rex Ruger, of Podscum, Mick Sweeta spoke... Wait. I see that name, and I think Bullet Boys. Spoke about the Rocket Mafia in his new band featuring Poison's Ricky Rocket on the drums. I don't want to hear from Mike Sweeta. I want to hear from Ricky Rocket. Spoke about the Rocket Mafia in his new band featuring Ricky Rocket on the drums, Brandon Gibb, Devil City Angels on vocals and guitar, and Brian Kim's on bass and backing vocal. I think this is Mike Sweeta spoke about that. I don't want to hear from Mike Sweeta. I want to hear it from the Rocket Man. We're going to only get a little bit of this, then we're going to watch Ace Frehley get into your comments. Rocket Mafia's initial live performance will see the quartet performing cover songs of original Mick, who previously played with the Bullet Boys, said as transcribed by we're starting out with covers, yes indeed. We're kind of leaning toward a 70s sort of vibe thing that Ricky and I grew up with. But we're making sure that our songs that we love are passionate about. And we've got some shows booked. And I think we're playing at the Whiskey A Go-Go. Have you ever heard of that prestigious place in Los Angeles, California, off the Sunset Strip? In February of this year, indeed. In LA, Los Angeles, California. I don't know if you're going to be playing them gigs. It's on fire right now. And we got some fly-out gigs, too, coming up. Gotta love a good fly-out gig, right? Get you away from the wife and kids and everything. But yeah, it's real fun. We're having a great time with it. The singer, Brandon, he's coming in today. So we're actually going to really kind of hone in on how this is going to be. But it's energetic, and we're putting our little imprint on the songs, which is something that I would insist on in any circumstance. When I got in the room with Ricky Rocket and Brandon and all the boys, I said, I insist that we put some of our stank on these songs. We cannot just do them so people think, wait a minute, is that Lynyrd Skynyrd? I think I'm hearing Lynyrd Skynyrd, and that's really them on stage. It's got to have a bit of our own flair. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's kind of what we want to do. We just want to keep it high energy and entertaining and fun and live. No backing tapes. He didn't add that part, but I did. Let's get into Ace Frehley. Now you can see how close. Ace, we need to go have those veins looked at, dear. They're bulbous. I'm concerned about that. But this is such a close shot of what's going on. You can see in that pickup. Now this solo is 7 minutes long, and by God, we will not be listening to that. But I wanted to see exactly what he does. Something tells me this toggle switch has something to do with it. He clicks it down in the down position, and maybe that fires up the unit, and he's got to do something else. But let's get into it. Oh boy. Yeah, honey, I think oh yeah, here we go. I don't know if that's just old meat, on the hands or whatever, but I am kind of concerned about those bulbous veins in the hand there. Ace, if you're by God, if you're paying attention to this or if you're listening at all, I'm sure he's went into the doc, but he's got a little explosive in that hole. I can see it. Throws little flares and Kiss Alive 2 solo in there. He might be 78, but I'll tell you, he can rock. Oh, wait. See, it's already glowing. What did he do? What did he do? He's a master musician or a magician. That's a light. Okay, I know what he's doing, guys. All right, he's got 4 knobs on the guitar. One of them turns the light on. The other one's going to pump smoke. But it used to be a firecracker in there, wasn't it? But it's, you know, it's the 2025. We don't need to use an old firework in there, but let's see. There it is. You know what's amazing too is that even at 52, a smoking guitar, you're like, and how much of that has he inhaled in that schnocker? How much of that dirty smoke is that FAA approved? Yeah, back out of it, dear. Thank you. He turned on that flange pedal. Oh my God, he's huffing that shit right in. That can't be good for you, right? I don't even think that freaking fog they use. Let's get into your comments. It's that time. It's the best time of the whole damn podcast. Again, another portion where people have totally tuned out. Again, I have forgotten about the Lars Ulrich thing that I was going to say that I found weird. They were speaking with the guy that worked with, that mixed and mastered and produced the first couple of records. And he was saying he had to teach Lars Ulrich how to play the drums. Because Lars had, and this was what was weird about the whole thing, is he says, Lars comes from a jazz background. I'm like, what? And he said, so he had all of his rolls. And he knew what he wanted to do with the rolls. He just didn't want to do beats in there. He just wanted to do drum solos. None of that sounds correct to me, because even the drum rolls that he would do in those songs were not anything explosive. They fit the songs. They sound great. They're wonderful in the tunes. But there was nothing that you went, you know, when he did the double bass the first time. For one, that was one of those moments where, but it was already done. Get in the comments down below and tell me the other thrash metal band, and I'll tell you. Let's see if you can figure out the song from a thrash band who didn't really get too big, they didn't get too popular, or they didn't get, you know, they had to get day jobs. I'll give you one clue. Gene Hoglan used to be in that band, but they did it first. There's an argument to be made for being done first by somebody else. That Metallica would have heard it from. I just thought it was weird in that interview that he was talking about how he came from a jazz background and he had all these sweet rolls for Ride the Lightning or whatever, but I had to teach him how to play the drum beats, which is weird. Let's get into the comments. My God, the Revenant. Look at that. One comment. Is this the comment from the Revenant? Jesus, look at that. You want that creeping out of your closet in the middle of the night? Look at that. The Revenant. We love you, buddy. But if that's really you, that's creepy looking. That's a damn creepy looking demon. You are going to be the proud owner of a heart today, pal, because you're right here, right now. All I know is that I took too many mushrooms before watching this. Love it. During the opening song, I pictured Diablo as a centaur, playing a really well-made pan flute. That's kind of what I was doing earlier. And like really rocking it. It was really emotional and sacred. Really. I befriended a half rabbit, half squirrel creature that went by the name of Falafel that helped me through the entire experience. I really owe him and Shane a debt of gratitude. I am now making this part of my week. We got one, guys. We got the Revenant. He's saying right there that he's going to be here every week. He said it right there. And then this is that a set of breasts? Or what? O, little o, big Y, little o, but it's got parentheses around it, and it looks like breasts. And he's put the word boobs next to it. Because if I would have not seen the word boobs next to it, I would have went, I don't know what that is. So I appreciate that you did that. There's your heart, my friend. Well done. Dead inside. Coming in here says, shred the Casio. Shred that Casio. Thank you, bro. I'll keep it up. Mike Buchanan coming in, and he's got his stuff there. We see Big Tone. You guys, I really like you guys hanging around. You're kind of cool to be wasting your damn time to do this. You know how hard it is for anyone? I bet half of you don't even text message back properly or enough to your mother or whatever. And then you guys sit here and say, do all this. It's great. The 69er, Mike Buchanan coming in, says, welcome to 2025, everybody, the year of no fear. Hope all have the best year of your lives. Because tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's gonna... This week's movies that are bad, but we love them anyways. The Guyver. Ooh, 1991. Despite what many reviews say, I really like this. It may be dated in special effects and be crawling in flaws. That's the way I like them. But it is generally an enjoyable movie. Sean Barker finds a strange alien mechanical-looking device that merges with his own body, turning him into a cyborg-like superhero. When Xenoids, werewolf-like people that can turn into mutants, appear and start chasing him down in order to obtain the device, Sean uncovers Coronos Corp's evil scheme. Fans of the Guyver cartoon, really? Fans of the Guyver cartoon and comics may or may not like it. I don't even know what that is. I know MacGyver. I don't know what that is. They may or may not like it. A lot of the best bits from the cartoon storyline are involved in this movie, but are done slightly different. While the action and Xenoids monsters seem like an adult version of the Power Rangers, okay, I'm on board. I mean, I'm not into the Power Rangers, but I like those kind of goofy-looking monster styles. And some of the tongue-in-cheek gags almost take over the Guyver's story. Something about this movie is just irresistible. The problem is, it's impossible to put your finger on what it is. Reminiscent of a lot of the 80s to early 90s action comic-inspired movies, the movie never takes itself too seriously. Whether that's a good or bad thing is your decision. There are times where the comic relief or purposely amusing action scenes can start to become annoying, as any fan of the Guyver is obviously looking for some serious action and gore. Okay? It does have its moments in that department, however. Casting is good in the means of appearance. Mark Hamill as a CIA agent must have boosted the sales of the film, and Michael Berryman, yes. If you see his face, you'll instantly recognize him. I'll tell you who he is, guys. If you've ever seen the movie Weird Science, Michael Berryman is one of the bikers that busts through the party. He's the bald one that says, when they go, "Get the hell out of here," and they get their bikes out, and he goes, "Hey, if you could you keep this to yourself? I'd hate to lose my teaching job." And he was also in Hills Have Eyes, the original Hills Have Eyes and stuff. He's in every horror movie in the world, and he goes to all the conventions too. If you see his face, you'll instantly recognize him. Make the perfect mutant. He makes the perfect mutant. And his bald head and his evil stare, but the acting could use some work. Overall, if you're looking for a cheesy, non-CGI monster movie, give The Guyver a watch. Grab your favorite beverage, sit in your favorite chair, pop some popcorn, and press play. Shane, Mike Buchanan says, get your bass ready, and from what I hear, with every Jive Talkin start, you have a great voice, dude. You're joining Nevermore. Really? Did they call? Don't forget us little people when you become famous. Okay, I'm going to say something that might sound mean, but if I wanted to get famous in a band, I wouldn't join Nevermore. And I wouldn't join this version of Nevermore. Now, if Warrell Dane was still around and he wanted me, I'd damn do it. Oh boy. Mike Buchanan on sepsis. Sepsis occurs when chemicals released in the bloodstream to fight an infection trigger inflammation throughout the body. This can cause a cascade of changes that damage multiple organ systems, leading them to fail, sometimes even resulting in death. And thus ends my new segment of Medical Speak. But you got right to it, and I appreciate that because that informed me, and now I know. Mike Buchanan says, let's talk Flotsam and Jetsam. I think their issue was the ever-revolving door of members of the years, over the years. I personally don't have any issue with Nickelback. Okay, you're good with them. Maybe it's the Chad thing, or maybe it's jealousy from other bands on their success. I mentioned this on Instagram. I got a great playlist, 70s, 80s, 90s playlist. And Nickelback are a bunch of sex freaks. I couldn't say sex freaks on Instagram, or they'd say, You're a damn molester. Whatever they do, they instantly go, you can't say that. But every song's dirty as shit. And I basically said, he's back there, and then we're driving in the seat, and you got my stick, and you stick. He's talking about driving in a car. We're just doing it all night long, and then he says something about looking. Then we're going at it. And Daddy's looking through the window. We didn't know Daddy was watching us, and he sees me kissing the muffin and all this, and I'm like, I don't even want to see what's in those photographs now that he's thinking about. Look at these photographs. I will not look at them, Chad. You sicko. He was married to Avril Lavigne, I think, or is. I always thought she was cute. She is pretty. People say, a lot of people, women might take it as an insult. They say, oh, you're pretty. What does that mean? I'm not hot. I'm not sexy. I'm not beautiful. I'm pretty. But pretty is the same as beautiful, right? Get in the comments and break that down. Let's see. Mike Buchanan, starting a rumor here. Shane says that Michael Sweet is an alien. Should see this on the front cover of the National Enquirer any day now. Yep. They love to put them up. Anything with an alien. They love it. And boy, oh boy, there's some high strangeness going on these days, isn't there? I'm loving every minute of it. I'm all down. If they say that there's friggin' aliens coming, I'm saying, beam me up. I am so hyped. I'm feeling the strangest things. I'm loving the aliens. Get yourself a Diet Coke if you know that song. Because you're damn good if you know that song. Let's get into, let's see. There might have been a reason why Reach for the Sky wasn't released on the Out of the Cellar album. He's talking rap. While good, it's just like it needs more polishing. Yeah, Out of the Cellar's pretty solid record all the way through, right? I can't think of I had that cassette. I don't remember all the songs that were on it, but I don't remember there being stinkers on it. Because back then, you'd you had to flip the tape over. So if you were lucky, I've mentioned it before, if you were lucky, the good songs would line up so you could flip it over and listen to the other two good songs on the other side. And now it's time for Mike Buchanan's Jive Talkin' Jokes of the Week, provided lovingly by the 69er every week. And now, here we go. And I had a good joke, but I forgot it now. What is the difference between a cat and a comma? One has claws at the end of its paws, and the other is a pause at the end of the claws. That might help me remember that. Me and James Hetfield might be able to use this when he's got his big pile of words. Comma. It's the end of a pause. Mike Buchanan says, Lee Harper goes to Mexico, gets blind drunk, and writes a book. Can you name the book? Tequila Mockingbird. Hey, that's the first mention, but pretty close. I mentioned To Kill a Mockingbird, and now he's got Tequila Mockingbird. That's the drink, tequila. We got any drinkers? You ever had the worm? You ever chew the worm up? You got to chew the worm. You got to get the flavors. Anyone ever do that? Put that in the comments. What's the opposite of a croissant? A happy uncle. Croissant? See, I say it the proper way, Mike. Croissant. Not a croissant. Happy uncle. A vending machine fell on me today. Luckily, it only had soft drinks. And finally, I bent over to pick a flower today and accidentally urinated on myself. You're over 50. I bent over to pick up a flower today and accidentally urinated on myself. What flower was I picking? A peony? A peony? I don't know what the hell that is. A peony. Is that a flower? Oh, I butchered that, Michael. Oh, I'm so ashamed. I'm taking the cat and nine tails to my back tonight. Big Tone. Big Tony's coming in here. It's Happy New Year, brother Shane. Heavy metal emoticons there. Couldn't hear Steve at all. Brutal. What? Couldn't hear Steve at all. Brutal. Yeah, he's talking about the... He says, I enjoy the Jive Talks, Big Tone. He says, I enjoy the Jive Talks. He's referring to, we watched Reach for the Sky from Rad. It was the first time that Stephen Pearcy performed it live after oh so many years, and you couldn't hear Stephen at all. There you go, buddy. There's your heart. And we got, we got the Revenant, and we've got the Rev coming back in. You got me cracking up over the school of If It's Done Right. Yeah. You know, remember that? Where they was talking about that's a great name for a school. Only if it's done right at the school. Damn, dude. Stryper pissed me off with their last album. Really? I thought everyone loved it. To the point where I decided not to wear my Stryper t-shirt today, even though it was next in the lineup. Can't do that. If it's in the lineup, dude, you can't do that. And you can't skip shirts if you're going to a concert and it's in the lineup. You gotta wear that one, dude. You can't, even if it's the same band. Some people argue you wear the same shirt as the same band. You don't wear the same shirt as the same band. I don't think twice about it, but can't do that. Stryper t-shirt, even though it was next in the lineup, I get what Mike the Sweet Boy, is saying about Yahweh. But their backing tracks are too much. What I dislike more is how Mike switches to the low harmony live. Mike, you mean, okay, Michael, switches to the low harmony live. Okay, I see what you're saying. His mic is the hottest, and even though Oz is probably the better live singer, yeah, he does pretty good with him. the clips that I've seen. He's taking on one of the higher parts doesn't carry any power because it's so low in the mix. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Why the butt did I spend all that energy on Striper? Love you, Shane. Hail. No, I love you too. And I didn't want to say it in front of all these people. Now I'm so shy. Ah! But I love you too. That's a hard to prove it. Miss Althea. She's got a short list here. Miss Althea says, Dumbstruck Fool says, Happy New Year to all. She also has a short list for the week. Miss Althea on Nevermore. I get them mixed up with Nothing More. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Don't really care much about either. So, oh hey. For those who are of a certain age and are due for a colonoscopy, I highly recommend the option of Cologuard. But it's that if you fall within the average risk category. It was super convenient and totally stress-free. What is that? And my results were negative. So yay. Oh, is that home test? Not bad. Yay! Don't have to worry about that shit for another 3 years. Literally. Yep. It's a good thing to do. Don't be, in fact, I have a friend that's getting one right now. Or he got one in the afternoon. But I kept hounding him. You got to get a colonoscopy. And he did it. He's doing it today. That's weird. But he's doing it today. But it was weird because it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, you can't do the night before of flushing the system out and then get me in there in the morning. Don't get me into where I'm sitting there on low energy because I haven't eaten or drank anything all damn day before you get to it. But Miss Althea on Mickey D. Sepsis is some scary shit that a lot of people do not take seriously. Thank goodness he is okay. Miss Althea is going to speak to Eric Knudsen of Flotsam and Jetsam on Nickelback. Yawn. I always forgot that Chad was married to Avril Lavigne. Miss Althea on Stephen Piercy. I love the guy, even though he was rude to me. Oh, and rap. But have you told that story? I have said it before. I will say it again. I think there is a reason why Reach for the Sky did not make the cut out for Out of the Cellar and was kept in the vault for 40 plus years. I will simply leave it at that. It's just not a good enough tune. Well done, Miss Althea. Have you told the story about Stephen Piercy being a jerk? Johnny B back here. Happy 2025 to you, Shane, and to all the beautiful people. The beautiful people. Shane Diablo, heavy metal and hard rock news community. 2025 is going to be one hell of a year if you're paying any attention to the real news, and especially if you're following all of the UAP drones, orbs, remote viewing activity that's going on, then it's really going to be a big year. I'm with you, bro. I'm just going, why is no one talking about any of this shit? It really is amazing how that happens, though, isn't it? If the social medias and the media companies don't want to be talking about things, they don't talk about it. It's very interesting because you think, oh, no, these guys do, though. Oh, no. Those don't, but these do. And then it's like, no, they don't talk about them either. Very interesting stuff. I'm with you, Johnny B. I'm with you. I thought he's going to talk. Is he going to talk about a movie here? Just wait, because it's about to get very interesting. That's what he ended that up. I'm going to read just this again. The UAPs, the drones, the orbs. Orbs aren't the same thing as the drones. Any investigator can tell you this. Remote viewing activity that's going on, it's really going to be a big year. Think I'm crazy? You think I'm a crazy person? Just wait, because it's about to get very interesting. That's what I was telling my buddy with the colonoscopy. He's like, oh, dude, you don't know. Johnny B says, I love the movie review of the giant spider invasion last week. Shout out to Mike B. 69er. The movie stars Alan Hale, who also starred in the TV series Gilligan's Island, as you mentioned. During the filming of Gilligan's Island, do you know Hale squired a gentleman lover? Get the hell out. Really? He sure did. And even as he sure did. And that lover was none other than Bob Denver. Gilligan, are you kidding me? During a break in filming, actors Don Wells. I'm going to laugh if this is a joke, but if you're serious, I'm going to laugh. Because it's just too crazy world. All right, let's get back to this. Gilligan and the skipper are in love. During a break in filming, actor Don Wells, Marianne, and Russell Johnson, the professor, snuck away to an empty dressing room to snort a pile of cocaine. Walked in on Hale and Denver as they were making sweet and passionate love to one another. Please tell me it was I mean, this might be graphic, but I would really feel better if Gilligan was in charge. If you get my drift. Hale and Denver, they were making sweet and passionate love to one another. Wells went on to say that it was really awkward because Hale was being very animated, like he was in the like he was in the show. Denver only making demands sexually and still calling him little buddy. Don't tell me these things. And oh, my little power bottom. So Skipper was in charge. He's on charge on the show, he's on charge on the boat, and he's on charge in Gilligan. This is, of course, an urban legend. Whew. I mean, I really want it to be true now. Why am I going, whew? Because I want all that to be true. I don't believe a word of it other than the part about the coke. My sister told me this when I was 12. It's a lie, Johnny. She lied to you. I still thought it was hilarious. Still do. But I can guarantee you won't watch that show the same way after hearing that. And I've been watching it, and now I will be thinking about it. I've been hooked on the year of 1983, Price is Right, and Gilligan's Island, and Columbo. I've been watching some episodes of that. But pretty much all of Columbo's the same. Different crimes, but he comes in and he goes, I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy looking around. That's all I am. I'm a nobody. I'm a nothing. And then by the end of it, he's going, oh, and there is one more thing. You know. Let's see. Gilligan. What? Now you got my brains all thinking about things. A few weeks back, you asked me about the Melvins, what I thought about them, and I completely forgot to answer you. I have seen them 6 times, all opening for Tool. That's the show I saw that concert. Here's another question I'll ask you about that. Or maybe I've already mentioned it. Did Maynard come out on stage and tell everyone to be nice? Because he did that with me. He came out and he said, these are our friends, Melvins. Show them respect, show them rapport. Almost like, hey, half of you are going to think this stinks. All opening for Tool. Melvin's opening for Tool. And once, when they combined forces with Big Business, I remember that as well. If you haven't heard the song A History of Bad Men, do yourself a favor. I think I saw Melvin's when they had the double drummer situation with Big Business. History of Bad Men. Do yourself a favor and stop what you're doing and give it a spin. Super heavy song with a freight train groove. As for the Melvins, they have some great albums and some not so great. They're definitely not for everyone, but always bring the heavy. Buzz is always fun to watch live and has some really interesting riffs. They're not my go-to, but are easily fun to listen to. If you get a minute, go YouTube. Buzz Osborne talks about Dave Grohl. There's a whole bit, he did like a acoustic thing where he traveled around by himself and told stories and played acoustic. And he goes on this solid 15 minutes about Dave Grohl. It's pretty interesting. Johnny B says, another great podcast, sir, and I'm excited to see what comes this year for you. For me, hopefully a video cast on Patreon or YouTube, wherever we can all tune in and do a live version of the podcast. Sounds like fun. Lots of possibilities, and I'm here for it. Yes, we will get to the bottom of something like that. I want to do some kind of a live thing where I can interact with you guys, and to me, that's more fun than anything. Have a few topics, and then just shoot the breeze back and forth. That sounds fun. Well, let's read this part again. Another great podcast, sir. Well, you're welcome for that. Advice for the week. While shopping in the bakery of life, never ever partake in the shit cakes. Right. They're delicious cakes, but have shit on them, which makes them terrible. I couldn't agree more. What was the joke that there was a joke that I had. I think it was a mom joke, too. But I can't remember. Anyways, Jolly Jake Lavelle, our friend here, he comes in, he says, the one night before the second one. The one right before the second one. I don't know what that means. Should we look at the replies? Third. Fourth, fifth, I have, look at this. There's the 69er. Third, Miss Althea. Fourth, fifth, I have no idea what the fuck this is about. Kitty cat emojis. Mike Buchanan coming back. Tagging, neither do I. I'm just being a dork. Yeah, so none of us know what you talk about, Jolly Man. Okay, get that figured out and get down there and tell us. Guys, seize the day. Keep your eyes to the skies, man. It is phenomenal what's going on out there if you just taking a peek. I haven't seen them yet with my own eyes, but I cannot wait because I'm right there on board. If they need an ambassador of any kind, if the aliens show up and they need any kind of ambassador, and people, half the people I know think I'm crazy as shit, okay? They think I'm gone, I've lost my mind. His mama died, and he's lost his mind. That's what happened to him. His mother died, and he lost his mind. No, but I'm just saying, if they need some kind of an ambassador, I'm here for it. I'll go right up on the mothership. If they say, who wants to come up on the mothership, take a look around, I'm raising my hand. All right, we're going to get out of here with a tune. Cut out the noise, cut out the stress, cut out the garbage, cut out the all that terrible stuff, and pull that energy right back to yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to be a little selfish. I'm going to care about myself a little bit. I care about you and all this fine stuff, but I need to start focusing a little more on me, my health. And that means mental and physical and all of that. Let's get a tune. I just want to rock out with a tune, guys. I love the claps. It's just great. Let's get it. Jive Talkin with Shane D. We're done now. Gonna have a good time next week. You know we will. Oh, yeah. We had a good time this time. news, my friend.